Hello students, myself Dr. Muhammad Ahmed. I welcome you all to the new session of Mathematics 1. Students, as you all know that yesterday government has decided to cancel the offline classwork and conduct classes through online mode only. So students, once again we are back with online classes, and in today's class I'm going to discuss the important questions related to internal 2. So as you know that your internal 2, second internal examinations are very near. The dates have been decided that the internal exams may be conducted from 31st of this month, or maybe 1st of the next month. So what I have planned for today is to discuss the important questions related to internal 2. So in today's class, I'll discuss the important questions related to SAQs, that is SAQs for internal 2, and in next class we'll be discussing LAQs, that is SAQs means short answer questions and LAQs means long answer questions. So in today's class I'll discuss the important questions which will be asked for 2 marks, that is SAQs. So let us start with our first question. So the first question is x is given as u into 1 plus v and y is given as v into 1 plus u. Then we have to evaluate dou of xy by dou of uv. Actually it is read as Jacobian of xy with respect to uv. So what is given? U is given in terms of x is given in terms of uv and y is given in terms of uv. Then we have to evaluate the Jacobian of xy with respect to uv, right? This question is related to unit 3. The unit name is multivariable calculus. Multivariable calculus differentiation. Right, this question was asked in the previous examinations also, end semester examinations also, and this topic, the topic in this unit is Jacobian. Right, this question is from Jacobian. So let us see the solution of this question, how to find the Jacobian. Actually, how the Jacobian is defined when two variables x and y are given in terms of u and v. Actually, we are asked to evaluate this. So according to the definition of Jacobian, this is Jacobian of xy with respect to uv. This is defined as the determinant of partial derivative of x with respect to u, then partial derivative of x with respect to v, the same way partial derivative of y with respect to u, then partial derivative of y with respect to v. So this determinant is defined to be the Jacobian of xy with respect to uv. How it is defined? See, first we have to consider this x derivative, partial derivative of x with respect to u, first term will be, then second term will be partial derivative of x with respect to v. Then in next row we have to consider the second variable, partial derivative of y with respect to u, then partial derivative of y with respect to v. Right, this is called as Jacobian. This Jacobian can be defined in 2 variables and 3 variables also, and that what we call chain rule for Jacobian can also be discussed. Right, all those things are discussed in the video related to unit 3, where I have discussed the topic Jacobian in detail. Everything you can find there. You can find the Jacobian, how the Jacobian is defined in 2 variables, how the Jacobian is defined in 3 variables, and also what is the meaning of chain rule for Jacobian. All those things are discussed in a video related to unit 3. The topic was Jacobian. Right, here the question is given in for x and y in terms of u and v, Jacobian of xy with respect to uv. So we have to find all these partial derivatives and substitute here. So this is equal to Jacobian of partial derivative of x with respect to u. So this can be written as this x equal to, so further you simplify this, you will get u plus uv here, and this as multiply v plus uv. Right, actually x is u plus uv and y is v plus uv. So partial derivative of x with respect to u. When we are differentiating x partially with respect to u, other variables will be treated as constants. Remember students, other variables should be treated as constants. So we are differentiating with respect to u. Derivative of u will become 1 and derivative of this u will become 1. So here v will be constant, multiplication with the variable u. So v will be as it is, derivative of u will become 1, this derivative of u will become 1, v will be as it is. So 1 plus v. Dou x by dou u we will get as 1 plus v, right? Then dou x by dou v, we have to differentiate partially x with respect to v. So x with respect to v, then this u derivative with respect to v will become 0 and here derivative of v will become 1. So u will be remaining. So this will be u. Then next dou y by dou u, partial derivative of y with respect to u. Y is here, partial derivative of this with respect to u. Derivative of this will become 0, derivative of u will become 1, v will be remaining. So v. Then dou y by dou v, partial derivative of y with respect to v. See, this will become 1 plus u as it is, derivative of v will become 1. So what will remain here? 1 plus u. Right? Further, we have to take the cross multiplication, that is determinant we have to simplify. So what will get? 1 plus u into 1 plus v minus uv. Further simplification, multiply this 1 plus v plus u plus uv minus uv. This last two terms plus uv minus uv will get cancelled. So what will remain? 1 plus u plus v. So this is the required Jacobian of xy with respect to uv, right? So this is how we find the Jacobian of xy with respect to uv. Now let us see the second question. The second SAQ question is evaluate integral 0 to pi by 4 integral sin x to cos x dy dx. So this question is related to unit 4 because integration is there and we know that unit 4 is multivariable calculus. Multivariable calculus integration, right? Third unit was multivariable calculus differentiation, whereas fourth unit is multivariable calculus integration, right? And in this, the topic from which this question is given is evaluation of double integral. Evaluation of double integrals. So in evaluation of double integrals, what type of questions will be asked in the examination? Because while discussing this question, we can discuss this topic also. That is what I am doing now. From evaluation of double integrals, 100% one SAQ question will be asked from this. Evaluation of double integral is important for one SAQ questions. One SAQ question will be asked from evaluation of double integral. And what type of questions may be asked from this? See, in evaluation of double integrals, three different types of questions may be asked. First one is double integral with the limits as a to b, c to d, a function of two variables f of x comma y, dx dy. This is the first possibility. This is the first possibility in which all the limits will be given to be constants, that is a to b, integral a to b, c to d. So how to evaluate? Actually, what happens in evaluation of double integral is, here we need to bother about the order, in which order we have to evaluate the given integral. Whether we have to integrate this first with respect to x, then with respect to y, or first with respect to y, then with respect to x. This question arises when double integrals are to be evaluated, right? So to tackle this problem, what we do is we look at the limits. If all the four limits are constants, then we can integrate this with respect to y first or with respect to x first. We are going to get the same answer. In any order, we can evaluate the integral if given limits, all the four limits are constants. This is the first possibility. The second possibility may be, right? The second possibility is internal limits may be in terms of x, like the given question. You consider this question only. See, internal limits are given in terms of x, sin x to cos x, and external limits, that is outer limits, are given to be, outer integral limits are given to be constants, right? Inner limits are in terms of x. So whenever the limits are in terms of x, we have to understand that these are the limits for y. So suppose if the limits are given like this, some f1 of, or we can write like this, y1 of x to y2 of x, right? And the exterior limits are constants, again a and b, f of x comma y, so dx dy. Suppose the question is given like this, where inner integral limits are in terms of x and outer integral limits are constants a and b. So to evaluate this integral, we have to follow a specific order. See, when the limits are in terms of x, we have to understand that these are the limits for y, right? When the limits are in terms of x, for example sin x to cos x, then we have to understand that these are the limits for y. So we have to consider these limits for y, right? Y equals to y1 of x to y2 of x, and x equals to a to b, right? And we have to change the order also. When these limits are for y, we have to integrate this integral first with respect to y, then with respect to x. So we have to change this. We have to change this, right? First with respect to y, then first with respect to y, then with respect to x. This is what the changes we have to make before evaluation of the integral, double integral, right? This is the second possibility. This is the second possibility. Now consider the third possibility. In the third possibility, that the question may be asked like that, like this: integral will be given in terms of, limits will be given in terms of y, x1 of y to x2 of y, and again exterior limits will be constants from a to b, f of x comma y dx dy. This is the third possibility. In this third possibility, you can observe that here the limits are given to be in terms of y. Here the limits are given to be in terms of x. Here the limits are given in terms of y. Suppose the limits are given in terms of y, then we have to understand that these are the limits for variable x. So these are the limits for variable x. So x equals to x1 of y to x2 of y, and y equals to a to b. Then we have to follow this order only. First we have to integrate with respect to x, dx, it is correct. Then with respect to y, then dy. So this is the rules that we have to follow while evaluating the double integral, right? First one is, if all the four limits are constants, then we can integrate this with respect to x or with respect to y. We are going to get the same answer. Suppose the limits are like this: inner limits are in terms of x and outer limits are constants, then we have to consider these limits to be for y. Integrate this first with respect to y, then with respect to x. The third possibility is, if the limits, inner limits are given in terms of y and outer limits are constants, then we have to consider these limits for x, right? And first integrate with respect to x, later we have to integrate with respect to y. So this is the order that we have to follow. Now let us consider this question. Second question, how we are going to solve this, right? So which possibility it is? Out of these three different various possibilities, this possibility is the second one, second case, right? Where the limits are, inner limits are given in terms of x. So we have to understand that these are the limits for y. So I am going to write the given integral like this: integral x equal to 0 to pi by 4, and integral y equals to sin x to cos x dy dx. Now we have to integrate this first with respect to y, because inner limits are for y, x equal to 0 to pi by 4 as it is. Now integrate this. What is the integrand here? Nothing is there. So we have to understand that 1 will be there. Integration of 1 with respect to y is y only, right? Limits will be from y equals to sin x to cos x into dx, right? Now substitute the limits. Integral x equals to 0 to pi by 4 as it is. Substitute the upper limit, we will get it to be cos x minus lower limit sin x into dx. Again integrate this with respect to x. What is the integration of cos x? Integration of cos x is sin x minus integration of sin x is minus cos x. So minus, and this minus will become plus cos x. The lower limit and upper limits are x equal to 0 to pi by 4. Now let us substitute the upper limit. What we will get? Sin pi by 4 sin pi by 4 plus cos pi by 4 minus sin 0 minus cos 0. What is the value of sin pi by 4? Sin pi by 4 is nothing but sin 45 degrees. It is sin pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. Cos pi by 4 is also 1 by root 2. Minus sin 0 is 0, then minus cos 0 is 1. So little bit simplification will give us 1 by root 2 plus 1 by root 2 is nothing but 2 by root 2 minus 1. Now simplify this. What is the value of 2 by root 2? It is nothing but root 2. 2 can be written as root 2 into root 2. Then root 2 in the numerator and denominator will get cancelled. Root 2 will remain minus 1. So this is the required answer. Right? This is how we have to evaluate the double integral. As I told you, in evaluation of double integral, one question will be asked in external examination. This is important topic. One SAQ will be asked, 100% one SAQ will be asked from this. And three different possibilities we have to consider. First one is all the four limits are constants. In this, we can integrate first with respect to x or first with respect to y. We are going to get the same answer. If inner limits are in terms of x, we have to consider those as y limits. Integrate this first with respect to y. If inner limits are in terms of y, we have to consider those limits for x and integrate first with respect to x. Right? So this is the procedure we have to follow. Now let us see the third question. Okay, now the third question is evaluate integral 0 to 1 integral x to root x, x plus y dx dy. So this is also a double integral. So this question is also related to the same topic, that is evaluation of double integral, and the unit is unit 4. The topic is evaluation of double integral, right? Same as the previous question. See, if you see the previous question, here also the same thing. We have to evaluate the double integral, evaluation of double integral, unit 4, right? This is also from the same topic, evaluation of double integral. Evaluate integral 0 to 1 integral x to root x, x plus y dx dy. This question is also asked in the previous examinations. Now let us see the solution of this, how we are going to solve this. So what is given? Integral 0 to 1 integral x to root x. So let us see the inner limits. Inner limits are in terms of x. If the inner limits are in terms of x, we have to understand that those are the limits for y. So consider these limits for y and these limits for x. So we can write the integral like this: x equal to 0 to 1 and y equals to x to root x, x plus y dy dx. We have to write like this. Dx dy is given actually, but because inner limits are for y variable, so we have to integrate this first with respect to y, then with respect to x, right? So integrate with respect to y first. So what is the integration of x with respect to y? X is constant as it is, then 1 will be remaining. Integration of 1 is y, plus y is there. Integration of y is y square by 2, right? Then the limits will be from y equals to x to root x into dx, right? Now substitute the limits. So integral x equals to 0 to 1 as it is. Now substitute the upper limit. What will happen? X into, in place of y we have to substitute root x plus 1 by 2 as it is. In place of y we have to substitute root x. So root x whole square, right? Then minus lower limit. X as it is. In place of y we have to substitute x. Then plus 1 by 2 as it is. Sorry, minus, because we are substituting the lower limit. So minus 1 by 2, in place of y substitute x. So we will get x square into dx. Little bit simplification will give us integral x equal to 0 to 1 as it is, x root x. See, x root x can be written as x power 1 by 2. Root x can be written as x power 1 by 2 and x power 1. So we will get x power 1 plus 1 by 2 is nothing but x power 3 by 2 plus 1 by 2 into root x whole square is nothing but x, right? Minus here x square and here also x square. So what we will get by taking the LCM, we will get it to be, see, 2, this 2 will come here, then minus 2 minus 1 minus 3 x square by 2. So now we have to integrate this with respect to x. So let us integrate. What we will get? X power 3 by 2 plus 1 by 3 by 2 plus 1, right? Plus 1 by 2 into integration of x is x square by 2 minus 3 by 2 into integration of x square is x cube by 3. Limits will be from x equal to 0 to 1. Now this 3 and 3 will get cancelled. Now substitute the limits. So when we substitute the upper limit in place of x, we will get 1 here. 1 power 5 by 2 is nothing but 1 only. In the denominator 5 by 2 will be there. So when we take this denominator to numerator, what will get? 5 by 2 will become 2 by 5. So this will become 2 by 5. Then plus, when we substitute in place of x here, when we substitute 1, we will get 1 here, then 1 by 4, 2 by 5, 1 by 4, then minus 1 by 3. When we substitute in place of x 1, then we will get 1 by 2, sorry 1 by 2, right here 1 by 2, right. Then lower limit, when we substitute, this will become 0, this will become 0, this will also will become 0, because every term is having x, right. Now simplify this. When we take the LCM of this, we will get it to be 20. So how to find the LCM? 5, 4, 2. Find the LCM of this. 2, 5 as it is, 2 to the 4, 2 1 the 1, right. Then LCM will be, multiply this 2 into 5, 10 into 2 is 20, right. Then 5 is there, so we will get 4, here we will get 8, then plus we will get 5, then minus we will get 10. So this will be 13 minus 10 by 20. So 13 minus 10 is 3 by 20. So this is the required answer, right. This is how we evaluate the double integrals. Now let us see the fourth question. Fourth question is, evaluate integral 0 to pi by 6, integral 0 to 1, integral minus 1 to 3, y sin z dx dy dz, right. So this question is related to triple integral, the same unit. Again, this question is also from unit 4, that is multivariable calculus integration, multivariable calculus integration, and the topic is evaluation of triple integral. Right, evaluation of triple integral. This is the topic from which this question is taken. Right, in evaluation of triple integral also, this is also important for 2 marks. One question will be asked from this, 100%, one question will be asked from this topic, evaluation of triple integral, as this is also same as evaluation of double integral, but the difference is, instead of 2 integrals, here 3 integrals will be given and the function will be depending on 3 variables x, y, z, right. So what type of questions will be asked from this? In double integral 3 different possibilities were there, but whereas in triple integral only 2 different possibilities are there. First one is, all the 6 limits are constants, that is the first possibility is the integral may be like this, integral a to b and integral c to d and integral e to f, f of x comma y comma z dx dy dz. This is the first possibility, where you can observe that the limits are a to b, c to d and e to f, where these a, b, c, d, e, f are constants. All the 6 limits are constants. When all the 6 limits are constants, we can integrate this in any order. First we can integrate with respect to x, we can integrate with respect to y, or we can integrate with respect to z. We can follow any order, but better to follow the order given in the question, right. This is the first possibility. The second possibility is, the inner limits will be in terms of x and y. Inner limits will be in terms of x and y. z1 of xy to z2 of xy, right. Middle limits will be in terms of x, that is y1 of x to y2 of x, and the outer limits will be constants, that is a to b, or we can even consider this as x1 to x2, f of 3 variables x, y, z, then dx, dy, dz. You can observe that inner limits are in terms of x, y, right. Inner limits are in terms of x, y, middle limits are in terms of x, and exterior limits, that is outer limits, are constants. Inner limits, we have to, if the inner limits are in terms of x, y, we have to consider these limits for z, the variable z. We have to consider those limits for variable z, right. Z equals to z1 of xy to z2 of xy, and the middle limits which are in terms of x, we have to consider those as y limits, right. y1 of x2, y2 of x, and the constants we have to consider as x limits. The same way we have to change the order also. The order that we have to follow will be the new order, that is first we have to integrate with respect to z, then with respect to y, then with respect to x. This is the order we have to follow for evaluating the triple integral. So two different possibilities are there. First one is all the 6 limits are constants, we can integrate in any order, but I recommend you to follow the order that is given in the question, right? And the second possibility is inner limits will be in terms of xy, middle limits will be in terms of x, and exterior limits are constants. So xy limits, if the limits are in terms of xy, those should be considered for the variable y. Integrate this first with respect to, variable z, integrate this first with respect to z, right? If the limits are in terms of x, we have to consider those for y, then we have to integrate with respect to y. Constant should be considered for x, right? Now let us see the solution of this fourth question, how we are going to solve. As you can see that this question is related to the first possibility where all the 6 limits are constants. So if, and one more thing I forgot to say you that not only in any order we can integrate this, but we can separate these integrals also. We can separate x integrals, y integral, z integral. If we are able to separate the integrand, if we are able to separate this integrand function f of x comma y comma z, for x variables separate, for y variables separate, for z variables separate, then we have to separate the integrals also. We can separate the integrals also. For this question you can see that this y can be separated, this sin z can be separated, x is not there, that can be taken as 1. So we can separate these three integrals. So what I am going to do is to evaluate this triple integral 0 to pi by 6 and 0 to 1 and minus 1 to 3. I will consider these limits for z and these limits for y and these limits for x, right? Then y sin z dx dy dz. Now to evaluate this triple integral, I can separate the integrals here. So what I am going to do is z integral first, z equals to 0 to pi by 6 sin z into dz. Then I will write y integral, y equals to 0 to 1, variable is y into dy. Now then x equal to minus 1 to 3, x is not given, any x is not given here. So this can be considered as 1 into dx, right? Now integrate this. What is the integration of sin z? Integration of sin z is minus cos z. Limits will be from z equals to 0 to pi by 6 and integration of y is y square by 2. Limits will be from y equal to 0 to 1. Then integration of 1 is x. Limits will be from x equal to minus 1 to 3. Now substitute the limits. So what we will get here, minus cos pi by 6, then plus cos 0, then 1 by 2 into 1 minus 0, then 3 minus of minus will become plus 1. Now let us simplify this. What is cos pi by 6? Cos 30. Cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So we will get minus root 3 by 2 plus cos 0 is 1. Right. Then what will happen here? Here 1 by 2 we will get and here we will get 4. So let us take the LCM in the first bracket. In the first bracket, let us take the LCM. So what we will get, minus root 3 plus 2 by 2 into here what will happen, this 2 and this 2. So we will get 1 2 here, which will again be cancelled with 2. So what will remain, 2 minus root 3. This is the required answer for the given triple integral. 2 minus root 3 is the required answer for the given triple integral. So this was the fourth question. Now let us consider the fifth question. The question is find unit normal to the surface f of x comma y comma z equals to x square y minus y square z minus xyz at the point 1 comma minus 1 comma 0. So what is given here? One surface is given in 3 dimensionals, that is f of x comma y comma z. For this surface we have to find the unit normal at the point 1 comma minus 1 comma 0. So what is the meaning of, first we will understand this question is related to which unit. See, this question is because we are asked to find the unit normal. So this question is related to gradient topic, that is, the topic is from unit 5, right? So let me put, this question is from unit 5, which is vector calculus, right? So what is the meaning of unit normal? Suppose I am having a surface in 3 dimensionals, that is x, y, z, 3-dimensional space. Suppose I am having a plane which is given like this. This is the plane f of x comma y comma z. Now the unit normal to this surface or the plane surface, the unit normal is defined to be, suppose this is the point at which we have to find the unit normal. Suppose this is the point, for example consider 1 comma minus 1 comma 3. For this point the unit normal is defined to be a vector which is going in this direction, that is which is perpendicular to the surface, right, which is perpendicular to the surface and having magnitude, this is the vector, and this is the vector which is having a magnitude 1, This vector is called as unit normal to this surface, right? How to find this actually? Suppose the surface is f, then normal is defined to be, normal to this surface is defined to be del f, right? Whatever the point is given, we have to substitute in that del f. Del f is nothing but the gradient of f. How it is defined, we'll see in the question. Then unit normal is given by del f by mod del f, that is magnitude of the vector del f. So let us find normal, then we have to find unit normal for the given question. So what is the given surface, that we'll write down. The given surface is f of x comma y comma z equal to x square y minus y square z minus xyz, right? This is the given surface. We have to find normal to this first, then unit normal. So normal to f is given by del f, which is nothing but I bar dou f by dou x plus j bar dou f by dou y plus k bar dou f by dou z. This is actually the gradient, right? Gradient of the surface f. This symbol is read as del. Del f is defined to be the gradient of scalar f, right? Now we have to find what is dou f by dou x, partial derivative of f with respect to x. So we'll get here 2x y minus x y square z minus sorry, we are differentiating. So what we'll get here, there is no x in y squared z. In y squared z there is no x, so this will become 0. Then here derivative of x will become 1. So what will remain? Minus yz, right? This is over. Then plus j bar into partial derivative of f with respect to y. Here y will become 1, x square we will get x square, then minus y square derivative is 2y, z as it is, minus x, y derivative is 1, then z, plus k bar into derivative of f with respect to z. In this there is no z, so this will become 0. In this z is there, derivative of z will become 1. So minus y square we will get here in the second term, and the last term here z is there, derivative of z will become 1. So minus xy we will get here, minus xy, right? So this is normal del f, right? We need del f because we need the normal, unit normal at the point 1 comma minus 1 comma 0. So we will evaluate del f at the point 1 comma minus 1 comma 0. So we have to substitute in place of x 1, in place of y minus 1, in place of z 0. So what we'll get? I bar into 2xy. So we'll get x is 1, y is minus 1, so we'll get minus 2 here, then minus yz, because z is 0, this will become 0, plus j bar into x square is 1 minus 2yz, z is 0, this will become 0, then minus xz, this will become 0, plus k bar into minus y square. Y is actually minus 1, but minus 1 whole square will become 1. Then minus xy. X is 1, y is minus 1. So this will become plus 1. Now little bit simplification will give us minus 2 I bar plus j bar. This minus 1 plus 1 will get cancelled. So del f at the point, that is normal at the point 1 comma minus 1 comma 0, is given by minus 2I bar plus j bar. Now we need unit normal according to the definition that we have discussed here. Unit normal is del f divided with its magnitude. I am not writing at the point 1 comma minus 1 comma 0, but it is default understood that this normal is evaluated at the point 1 comma minus 1 comma 0. So what we'll get here, what is del f? Del f is given by 2I bar plus j bar, right? Now the magnitude of del f. Magnitude of del f is square root of minus 2 whole square plus 1 square. So simplification will give us 2 to the 4 plus 1, 5. 1 by root 5 into minus 2I bar plus j bar, right? This is the required solution, required unit normal for the given surface f of x comma y comma z, right? Now let us see the sixth question. Okay, the sixth question is, show that the vector, one vector is given e power x plus exponential of x plus y minus 2z into I bar plus j bar plus k bar. Means this term into I bar plus this term into j, exponential term into j bar plus exponential term into k bar. So this vector we have to show that it is a solenoidal vector, right? So which vector is called as solenoidal vector, that we have to understand first. So before that, to which unit this question belongs, right? This question belongs to unit 5, which is vector calculus only, vector calculus, right? Because vectors we are dealing with derivative, we are dealing with integration and differentiation of vectors in unit 5 mainly. So it is, this unit 5 is called as vector calculus, right? Now how to solve this question? So which vector is called as solenoidal vector? Actually this question is related to divergence of vectors, divergence of a vector, right? How the divergence is defined? What is the meaning of divergence? Suppose I am having a vector f bar which is given by f1x plus f2y plus f3k. Suppose I am having, f1i. Suppose I am having the vector to be f1i bar plus f2 j bar plus f3k bar. This is the given vector. Then divergence of this f bar is denoted by del dot f bar. This is the notation for divergence, and it is defined as, what is del is given by I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z, right? Dot f bar is given by f1 I bar plus f2 j bar plus f3 k bar. Now the dot product will give us del dot f bar. Find the dot product. Here what will happen, this I bar dot I bar will become 1 and I bar dot j bar will become 0, I bar dot k bar will become 0, then j bar dot I bar will become 0, j bar dot j bar will become 1, same k bar dot k bar will become 1. So here I bar dot I bar will become 1. So what we'll get here, dou f1 by dou x plus dou f2 by dou y plus dou f3 by dou z. This is how the Jacobian, this is how the divergence is defined, divergence for the vector f bar. And whenever this divergence del dot f bar becomes 0, then this vector f bar is called as solenoidal, right? Which vector is called as solenoidal? Whose divergence is 0. Remember students, if the vector's divergence, f bar's divergence is 0, that is del dot f bar is 0, then f bar is said to be solenoidal, right? So here let us see the solution of this question, this problem. What is given here? One vector f bar is given to be e power x plus y minus 2z into I bar plus j bar plus k bar. Now this can be written as, multiply this, what we will get here, e power x plus y minus 2z into I bar plus the same thing, like e power x plus y minus 2z into j bar plus e power x plus y minus 2z into k bar, right? This is f bar. Now we got f bar. F bar will be in the form of f1i plus f2j plus f3k. So this will be f1 and this will be f2 and this will be f3. We got f1, f2, f3. Now we have to show that del dot f bar will be 0. Then this f bar will become solenoidal. That is what the question. We have to show that the vector is solenoidal. So let us consider del dot f bar. It is defined to be, according to the definition, it is dou f1 by dou x plus dou f2 by dou y plus dou f3 by dou z. So dou f1 by dou x. What is f1? F1 is e power x plus y minus z. E power x plus y minus z. This is f1. Now we have to differentiate this with respect to x. When we differentiate the exponential function, we will get exponential function only, which is e power x plus y minus 2z. Then again we have to differentiate the power with respect to x. When we differentiate this power with respect to x, here it will become 1, then remaining two terms will become 0. So we will get 1 here, then plus again dou f2 by dou y. f2 is e power x plus y minus 2z. So dou f2 by dou y, dou f2 by dou y means partial derivative of this with respect to y. So what we'll get here, again we'll get e power x plus y minus 2z into derivative of partial derivative of this power with respect to y. We'll get 1. The same way, last term, that is dou f3 by dou z, we'll get e power x plus y minus 2z. Again the derivative of power with respect to z. This x will become 0, y will become 0, then minus 2 will remain. Right now you take e power x plus y minus 2z as common, then what will remain here? 1. The second term also 1, then last term minus 2. So this plus 2 minus 2 will get cancelled, we will get 0. Therefore what we can say, if del dot f bar, that is divergence of f bar, is 0, therefore f bar is said to be, f bar is solenoidal. Right? This is why, this is how we have to show the given vector is solenoidal. Right? Now we will see the 7th question. Okay, 7th question is evaluate del of 1 by r, where r is given to be the magnitude of r bar and r bar is given to be xi bar, yj bar plus zk bar. This vector is called as position vector for the position xyz, for the point xyz. This r bar is called as the position vector, and this r is defined to be the magnitude of r bar. We have to evaluate del of 1 by r. So this question is also from unit 5, vector calculus. The topic is gradient. So how the gradient is defined actually? Suppose I am having a scalar point function phi, which is a function of x, y, z, right? This is a scalar function. What is the meaning of scalar functions? Already we have discussed, right? Now suppose a scalar point function is given, then this del phi, if we operate the vector differential operator del, that is actually what is del here? Del is given by I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z, right? This is the vector differential operator, I bar dou by dou x plus j bar dou by dou y plus k bar dou by dou z. Right, this is the vector differential operator. Now this vector differential operator can be operated on scalars as well as vectors. So if this vector differential operator is operated on a scalar, that is del phi, then this is called as gradient of scalar phi, and it is defined as del phi equals to I bar dou phi by dou x plus j bar dou phi by dou y plus k bar dou phi by dou z. So this is the definition of gradient. Now we will see the solution of the given question. What we have to find? We have to find the gradient of 1 by r. Instead of phi, we are given here 1 by r, right? So before that, what is given? R bar is given. R bar is given to be xi bar plus yj bar plus zk bar, right? And also given that R is the magnitude of R bar, which is nothing but square root of x square. Magnitude of R bar is x square plus y square plus z square. Now this can be written as R square. You take the square on both sides. R square equals to x square plus y square plus z square. Now let us find what will be, now let us differentiate this. Differentiate this R square equals to x square plus y square plus z square with respect to x. So what we will get here? 2r, and derivative of r is dou r by dou x. This is equal to partial derivative with respect to x. So we will get 2x here. Remaining terms will become 0. Now this 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So what we will get here? Dou r by dou x will get as x by r. Similarly, if we find dou r by dou y, we will get y by r. So if we find dou r by dou z, we will get z by r, right? Now let us evaluate what we are asked to evaluate actually. So we are asked to evaluate del of 1 by r, that is gradient of 1 by r. Now this can be written as gradient of r power minus 1, which is nothing but, according to the definition here, del phi definition, what it is? I bar dou by dou x of phi. In place of phi we are having r power minus 1. So plus j bar dou by dou y of r power minus 1 plus k bar dou by dou z of r power minus 1. Now this can be written as, I can put the summation here with where the summation runs over I bar, j bar, k bar and x, y, z. So what we will get here? Dou r power minus 1 by dou x. This is enough for me to write like this, because when I expand this summation will run over ijk, I will get ijk, and also this summation runs over x, y, z, so we will get x, y, z, right? So this is summation I bar into dou r power minus 1 by dou x. Now let us differentiate this. Dou by dou x of, that is partial derivative of r power minus 1 with respect to x. So what we will get here? Minus 1 into r power minus 1 into dou r by dou x, right? This is the partial derivative of r power minus 1 with respect to x. Now further simplification will give us summation. Now this minus r power minus 2 can be taken out. This r power minus 2 can be taken out because it is not going to depend on the summation. R power minus 2 is nothing but 1 by r square into summation I bar dou r by dou x. What is dou r by dou x? We have evaluated just now, it is x by r. Again this 1 by r in the summation can be taken out. So what we will get outside? 1 minus 1 by r cube into summation I bar x. Now this can be expanded. 1 by r cube. What is the summation I bar x? Is nothing but I bar x plus j bar y plus k bar z, right? Which is nothing but minus 1 by r cube as it is. See, you observe that x I bar plus y j bar plus z k bar is r bar. So we will get r bar here. Then it is nothing but minus r bar by r cube. So gradient of 1 by r is nothing but minus r bar by r cube, right? This is how we have to evaluate the gradient of any given scalar function. Here the given scalar function is 1 by r. We have evaluated the gradient of that and we got it to be minus r bar by r cube. So students, these were the SAQ questions that are important for internal 2. Now in next class we will be discussing LAQ questions important for internal 2, right? So see you in the next class.